Want a cool t-shirt today and you can't even see the detail on the pocket. What's the point? I know also that I need a haircut. I'm gonna get one soon. You don't have to look at this much longer, but it needs to be this length for a Halloween costume, so you'll understand the bind I'm in. Video, that's what we're doing. Okay, so yesterday was the 15th anniversary of My Chemical Romance's seminal 2006 album, The Black Parade, and as someone who once looked like this, yeah, I thought I ought to talk about it. As an aside, I did order a knockoff Black Parade jacket from AliExpress. That's yet to materialise, so keep your eyes out for that in a future video, if indeed it does ever turn up. Firstly, my credentials. Aside from the photos you just saw, which ought to be enough proof that I'm qualified, I also own these My Chemical Romance records, all of their albums on CD, although I don't have them with me here now. I've seen them live twice. It would have been 3 by now, but that big thing happened, and it is very much still going on. I'm a big fan of Gerard Way's solo work, both of Frankie Ioro's other actual bands. I'm not forgetting about You, Death Spells. I do love you in your own very, very weird way. And I like Electric Century as well. I've got first edition copies of both of the first 2 issues of the Umbrella Academy. So yeah, I'd say I'm pretty well qualified here to talk about what this album was, what it meant at the time, and what it did for music then and since. First, I want to look back on My Chemical Romance up to this point, because the start of their career's 3-album run, concluding with The Black Parade, is, to an extent, the only thing that would have made sense for the band. I've written 9th of September in my notes, and I think it's the American dating system that's fucking me up here, but the band was born on the 11th of September 2001 when Gerard Way saw the Twin Towers coming down. This is a bad part of the video for me to seem so happy in. He was, and continues to be, a creative force, combining in the music of the band's first album his love of horror films and, granted, an absolutely destroyed set of vocal cords if you listen to that recording. I know that this is heavily cut down, but if we're ever going to get to the Black Parade, some stuff's going to have to slide. So this album is raw. Fucking raw! I Bought You My Bullets, You Bought Me Your Love leans much more heavily on sort of screams that obviously became much less prevalent as the band's career went on. It's got kind of an overall stripped back sound. Now, whether that's a matter of budget or a conscious choice, I think it really works for them, and there's no doubt that even from the first track, Honey, This Mirror Isn't Big Enough for the Two of Us, that these guys are more than capable of writing some serious bangers. Bangers be damned though, because even from this first dip into the big emo hot tub that is MCR, I don't know where that metaphor came from, there are aspirations, ideas that the majority of the post-hardcore and screamo scene never quite had the backbone to support. These ideas, the little broken radio guitar sound, and the scale of this record's pretty much unheard of 6-minute closer have given some fans to believe that even this loose collection of songs could be considered a concept album. And speaking of concept albums, no, not that one yet. The band followed this up with their far more succinctly named 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, which, from the looks of the liner notes and consistent themes displayed throughout the pretty large amount of artwork that Gerard Way did for it, is actually a proper concept album. If you're anything like me, this is how you first heard the band. Their song I'm Not Okay is included on this game, Burnout 3 Takedown, but honestly, if we're anything like a similar age, I suspect it was around this album that you'll first have heard of My Chemical Romance. Truth be told, 3 Cheers is probably my least favourite studio album of theirs, but it's an undeniable fact that singles like The Ghost of You and Helena had an impact on the band's legacy and their style, which suddenly sounded glossy, melodic and high concept. This album, as much as I don't return to it that often, paved the way for the band's 3rd full-length record. And then, on the 12th of September 2006, the band released, well... So it's kind of crazy, right? I could play a G note on the piano and everyone who's watching would know exactly what that meant, exactly where the song was going, and exactly what to expect over the next 5 minutes and 11 seconds. Now, think about that for a second. The piano is certainly, if not certainly one of the most used instruments in Western music, and there's a key that sits right there in the middle of its keyboard, and the sound of that key being hit is forever linked with one specific song. That's pretty huge. There's no point in me breaking this song down musically moment by moment, because 12 Tone already did a much better job of that than I'm capable of doing. I will link that and a couple of other interesting bits about this album downstairs in the description. But I think it's just worth pointing out how uncommon it is for songs in this genre to even need a breakdown like that. This is about as far from the intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, end that most of this genre fits into as you can possibly get, and I think on that basis it kind of deserves the often mock description that some people give it of the emo Bohemian Rhapsody. But the thing is that this isn't sort of just an anomaly on an otherwise forgettable album. Almost half the songs are like this. I'm not including Blood here, but we'll get to that. Seriously, if you just look at the back of the record, you can see it's got The End, Dead, Welcome to the Black Parade, Mama, Disenchanted, and Famous Last Words. That's 6 out of 13 proper songs. They've all got a sort of lively story and a very distinct sonic aesthetic throughout, and I think it's this that makes the Black Parade as a whole such a great album, that there's a real mix of different song structures and styles, while still being pretty consistent in terms of the sound across its 52-minute runtime. Like I said, this album has been picked apart much better by people far more talented at musical analysis than myself, so rather than going track by track, here are my top 6, the normal number 6 for a numbered list, moments from the album. Number 1, the transition between The End and Dead, where the faster guitar part comes in and Gerard screams, yeah. Number 2, the severely underappreciated bass part from the bridge in The Sharpest Lives. Listen out to it the next time you put this record on, because it fucking rips. Number 3, the drum fill at 1 minute 46 in Welcome to the Black Parade, and by extension the entire drum part on the latter half of that song, because Jesus Christ, Bob Bryant is slapping the ever-loving shit out of those drums. Number 4, Liza Minnelli finally bringing emo's theatrics to their logical conclusion on Mama. Number 5, the cowbell in Teenagers, in a song that, while popular, is maybe the most significant stylistic departure from the general vibe of the album. It's nice to see them really lean into that and give us cowbell. Number 6, Blood. If I may opine for a second, I really miss hidden tracks. I know that this isn't a recent loss, because ever since we all started ripping our CDs onto iTunes, we could see if there was another song hidden in 10 minutes of silence after the last track, or if there was just another track on the disc that wasn't listed on the back of the case. But for my money, Blood is sort of the last hidden track that was genuinely a surprise upon first listen to the album. It's a really nice, fun little track that comes hot on the heels of the fantastic proper closer, Famous Last Words, and I think serves as kind of a nice little... So, what does a band do when they've got 2 pretty decent albums under their belt, some pretty popular songs, and the audience expectations that come with that at a live gig, when they release a concept album that's really designed for end-to-end listening? Well, obviously, they perform as 2 different bands for an entire tour, playing the Black Parade as a band called that, playing an eponymous album in full, and then come back out as My Chemical Romance, playing a second set comprising their greatest hits up to that point. To say that this is an odd approach is kind of an understatement, with bands usually touring a new record by playing primarily sets of songs from that, but sort of interspersed with some old favourites. But I think that this confidence really speaks to a band who were actually right when they, to paraphrase a meme that they could never have known would be applied to this record at the time, really thought they did something. I think it's pretty safe to say that they were right when they thought that, because although obviously they released Danger Days in 2010, this is still very much the My Chemical Romance that and I'm sure a lot of people, primarily remember when they think about that band. You may notice that I haven't spoken much about the sort of concept behind the album, because as great as it is, MCR didn't invent or even popularise the idea of a sort of 21st century rock concept album. They were beaten to the punch by 2 years by Green Day's American Idiot. But I still think there's maybe a reason why there's such a gulf. That's a little George Bush joke there for you, you know? About all the war crimes! Between how much love you'll find for the two albums. A statement that could also be applied to the Okay, so straight up, I am not here to dunk on Danger Days at all. I saw MCR live twice while they were touring it. I love that album. It's a real breath of fresh air in their discography. It's kind of, you know, got the nice sparkly synth parts, the brightly coloured, saturated music videos and imagery, but in terms of eras of My Chemical Romance, I can't help but feel that that one's going to end up as a footnote, with the Black Parade era really dominating most people's thoughts on a band whose comeback at the moment is in progress and gathering steam. I'm in the flat by myself and I just heard a spooky noise. But May Death Never Stop You, the greatest hits compilation, released in 2014, has more tracks from the Black Parade than each of their other albums. They toured the Black Parade in arguably the most immersive and high concept way, and if we include the 10th anniversary re-release, the Black Parade / Living with Ghosts, this album eclipses all their others in terms of its time spent as their most recent release, which I'm aware isn't a proper metric, but it's the point that I'm trying to make here. In terms of what's next for My Chemical Romance, I'm sure they're focusing on the upcoming reunion tour and new music, but I just want to leave you with 2 points. Firstly, at what is currently their only reunion show, 2019 set at Shrine Exposition Hall in Los Angeles, they played more songs from the Black Parade than any of their other albums. And secondly, I don't know about you, but that new logo, there's shades of the Black Parade in there, much more than any of their other eras. So let's see which one most ends up influencing any new music that they will inevitably put out, I'm hoping. No matter what they do next, I'm really excited to see what's going to come next for this band now that they're back together. And equally as excited to see how the Black Parade's going to age over the next 15 years. But for now, I'll see you in the next one. Okay guys, there we are. I wanted to release this video between the release of the Black Parade and Halloween, and that's what I've done. And now that I'm sitting like this, you can see the cool t-shirt I've been wearing all the time. It's very cool, thank you, I know. But let me know how you sort of first got on with the Black Parade. Let me know if you'd never listened to it before and you have now, or anything really. Just let me know down in the comments how you are, you know. Have a little talk with yourself.